What is going on, shrimp keepers? This is Rob with flipaquatics.com. Today, it is some Nano news and coffee. So how is everybody doing? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good. It's Wednesday, which means it's hump day. We're halfway through the week, which is always a good feeling. I don't know about you guys. I love my week, though. I enjoy my day-to-day. I enjoy coming in here and getting some stuff done. So for me, it's like, oh, it's Wednesday. You know, I got 2 days left until the weekend. Sometimes time goes by a little too fast for me, but I guess that means I'm just doing what I love and I'm keeping busy. So good morning to you guys. We got Joe's Shrimp Shack in the house. Good morning to Joe. Joe says he'll be streaming from 11 to 12, and that is Pacific time, or I don't know what it is. Central time. Central. That's what it is. So I am actually streaming an hour late, which is why Joe's streaming an hour late too. So yeah, that's my bad. I was super busy today, and I wanted to get some stuff done around here and get caught back up. Me and Amanda actually went to go visit her family in Indiana this past weekend. And so we left Friday and we got back Monday, and we had a baby shower there. So it was really nice, but it always throws off your week. And, you know, it is what it is. But we had a great time. We enjoyed hanging out with her parents and seeing some of her family. And, you know, it's always good to kind of get away and see the family and spend some time with them. So that's what we did this weekend. IB, Sam in the house. Good morning to you as well. He said good morning to everyone. And just so you guys know, today, since we do every other week, today is members only chat. So that's why you're only seeing members in the chat, or if you're in the chat and you can't chat, that's why. And so we do this every other week so that members have more of an opportunity to have their voice heard and get some questions answered, things like that. So Rocco's Fish Room, a new member. Thank you so much for signing up, Rocco. Always good to have more members here and grow a little bit more. And we'll go over at the end all the new members that have signed up since last week, and give a shout out to some of the older members that have been here for a long time. And so thank you for becoming a part of the Shrimp family. Rocco's Fish Room, good morning. Mad Medic said yes. And so thank you for tuning in. Always good to have you here. Caleb's Shrimp and Scales, good morning to you. Rocco said, why do I hear a soft chant, a flip, steadily growing into a cheering roar, LOL, like a Motley Crue concert? That's hilarious. Well, thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate it. I see my mom's in the house, Andrea Lupton. So thank you, Mom, for tuning in. And then for you guys, I got a question for you while we're just starting off. You know, what do you guys think about doing different times? Because I've thought about, you know, maybe, you know, every Monday, or what? Not every Monday. I'm lying through my teeth. Let me get my thoughts straight. Every Wednesday, throughout the whole week, like beginning of the week, we would do one time, or beginning of the month, we would do one time. The next week we would do another time. The next week we would do a different time, and then we'd cycle through. That way, different people can be a part of the stream throughout. Or do you guys just like it being a morning show? I'm just curious, and I honestly have no idea what you guys would prefer. I'll probably do a vote on our community tab just to kind of get more people's feedback. But I was just kind of thinking things like that. Timothy Darling tuning in says, top of the morning, everyone. Top of the morning to you as well. And, and yeah, so so good morning to everyone. It's been kind of I wouldn't say a crazy week. It's actually been a very productive week. Tyler, who's the manager, is really fallen into his role, and he's really been freeing up my time to focus on some other things. And so I've really been able to focus in on a lot of business stuff that I haven't had time for. Like we were able to do a sale this past weekend. I got a video done. So I'm feeling a lot more productive, which is really good. And I want to keep that going. And so far this week's has been pretty quiet as far as like things going on. And so I really feel like we're getting into a good rhythm, which is really exciting. And so you guys are going to see a lot more consistency. I hope, as long as nothing crazy changes. Our new employee, Alex, that we hired, she's doing really good in her role. And then we're hiring, or we hired one other person that starts beginning of next month. And so that means our livestock team will have 4 people. Our shipping team will have 2. And then Tyler's in management, and then we have a handyman, and then we have a weekend livestock guy as well. So our company's growing, and it's super exciting. And so a lot of really good stuff going on, and it's just really cool. Rocco said, I would say set a time and stick with it. It's easier to follow for the viewers. Absolutely agree. Joe said it's tough because morning show promotes a certain time we do lives. Yep, that's true as well. Lisa's in the house. Good morning, Lisa. And thanks for stopping in at the chat. Definitely always check out Lisa and John over at KG Tropicals. Just great people. IV Sam said, same time, same bat channel. And then, well, since you're feeling so productive, I got tanks that need water changes, LOL. Yeah, you ain't lying. I got a bunch that I could probably do water changes on too. But, it is what it is. I got these ones right here. I always do it the wrong way that I need to set up. My goal is to actually set them up this week. And so that'll be super exciting. But we'll see how far I get. I still really want to set up the 300-gallon. I need to make that a priority. But we're really starting to get the layout of the gallery, which we'll talk about next week. So just some really good stuff going on. But let's jump into our next topic, which is the motivational quote of the week. So this is one that I actually saw last night, and I absolutely loved it. And I as I was reading it, I was like, what is this talking about? So it's by Russell Brunson. So it says, start a business, $999. People think, oh, that's too much. And then buy a new iPhone, $999. No problem. What's the big deal with that? You need an iPhone. And then healthy groceries, $100, too much. Dinner and dessert, $100, no problem at all. And then watch Netflix for 2 hours. Then, I do this too. You're watching and you're just like, oh, one more episode and then we'll go to bed. Just one more episode. And then learn a new skill. Everyone's like, oh, I don't have time. And then it says at the very end, it's life is all about choices. Stop blaming the lack of opportunity. So this is something that really hits home with me because I have felt this way probably since college. So in college, I right towards the tail end of it, I went an extra semester because I did a double major. So I went the extra semester, and in that last semester, I got a job working for a doctor. And I remember I was working, I don't even know. I was working every day, but it was close to my college. And then I would leave work to go do my college classes. And I would come back and I'd be up late, doing email or doing homework and stuff like that. And then once I got out of that, I started working for my dad. And at the same time, I was saving up money to start the business. And I was just working these crazy hours. And I remember telling myself that, if I could just, sacrifice 10 years and give up what everyone else is doing, around me, for example, friends at that time when I was in my, mid 20s, early 20s, I had friends that were going out and having fun with their friends and going to Ohio State games and tailgating and having a really good time. And I remember thinking man, if I sacrifice that now, then it's going to be so much better for me in the long run. And so, it's really done a lot for me. Is I want to say I have a healthy balance. Back then when I was young, when I was single, I wasn't in a relationship. I could go, all day working, I would work my electrical job in the morning. As soon as I was done there, I would head to the warehouse and work all night, sleep at the warehouse. I'd wake up early in the morning, go home, take a shower, do the electrical work again, work at the warehouse. And then all weekend long, I would have, people like Mark and my friend Mitch come down and help me build stuff. And we would work all weekend. And really, there was no time off. And it was just something it was just a season that I could do that. And so I'm not saying people should do that, but if you sacrifice now, you'll reap the rewards later. And there's nothing better in life than investing in yourself. And so this, where it says, watch Netflix for 2 hours, and our mentality is oh, just one more episode. You could learn a new skill. You could become an expert in a field. I didn't just overnight become an expert in shrimp. It's something that I've done for years and years and years. And I just started off, how anyone else would. I started off just putting shrimp in a tank and making mistakes. And then I learned from those mistakes and I tried something else and I made more mistakes and so on and so forth. And now it's like I could look at a shrimp and be like, yep, I know exactly what's going on in that tank, or I can pretty much guess why those ones died in this person's tank. And it just doesn't happen like that. It takes dedication and commitment and preparation and sacrificing some of these things. And even budget wise, like when I started this business, I kind of just did what I had to do. I was working a full-time job in order to have money to keep the business going, and then working the business in my free time. And it was extremely exhausting. And it almost looked like, hey, there's like no end in sight. And really what did it is I decided like, hey, if I can't make this thing work within 3 years, then I can't waste any more of my life doing it. I need to try something else. And the first 2 years were super rough. And that third year, I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do to move forward. This is what I have to do to make a difference. And then putting that pressure on myself, like all of a sudden, the business started blowing up and we started becoming successful. We got our first employee and things kind of just changed. So I just want to encourage you all that, there's two ways to look at everything. There's a way to have excuses and there's a way to take ownership. And I've always been a person that takes ownership. Like, I'm super busy, so I don't get back to people. And that's not an excuse. That's a choice. Like I choose to do other things that I think are super important and I don't choose to look at my phone. And so it's not that I don't have the time to do it. It's that I'm choosing to spend my time in other ways that I feel like are much more productive. So I miss a lot of things with my phone. I miss a lot of things with my emails. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm driving the ship in the right direction. And so there's just tons of stuff like that going on. So that's the motivational quote of the day, or inspirational quote. And so hopefully you guys can pick up something from that, learn from it, and apply it to your own lives, and hopefully go out there and chase after a dream that you have and maybe you haven't chased after. And so Joseph said, quote of the day, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. I love coffee, so I'm with you on that. Oh, look at Rocco. First mistake was Ohio State. Get out of here with that. Ohio State's awesome. IB Sam said, if you love what you do, it never feels like work and you're willing to pour everything into it. And that's 100% true. I absolutely love what I do. There's definitely seasons that you go through that you're like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do this. Like, I used to be the only person that packed orders, and then we got somebody. And then, I used to be the only person that bagged shrimp, and then, we got somebody. And then, I used to be the only person that cleaned, and now we got somebody. And so like, it's all seasons. Like you completely evolve over time. And so now I'm starting to get to a place where I get to do things that I enjoy every single day. There's still things that I absolutely hate. Like I like accounting, but at the same time, like I hate reconciling accounts and like going through and making sure, this transaction matches up with that one. Like that is not what I enjoy doing, but I still do it every single day. And so, eventually we'll get to a point where I don't have to do it anymore. But, you got to take the good with the bad and enjoy what you do and make the best out of it. Mad Medic, I see, before we move on, I see you dropped a super chat. So thank you so much. It said, Rob, can I pay like $50 for a half hour / 40-minute phone consultation? I got so many questions about room I'm setting up. If you send me an email, I'd be happy to jump on a phone call with you and answer some questions and help you out. And we can talk through that. And I don't think I need to charge you. And so we'll figure that out. I can help you out. I'm happy to answer questions. Another thing I could absolutely do for free is if you just send us an email with every question that you have, I will go through there and answer every single question for you. So you just let me know. We'll figure it out. Send me an email. Shipping@flipaquatics.com is the best email to get a hold of me, but I'd be happy to do that. And thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. All right. So next section is let's do an update on the business. So a lot of good things going on, and I definitely want to share with you guys. So here is the current state of the basement in this building. So this is the rack that we're building for the Caridina room. And we're actually bringing all of our Caridina shrimp over here. We're going to put them on these racks. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're actually going to redo the Caridina room and set up for fish. If you guys didn't see that video, we had some mold potential issues in the wall, and we just have to rip all the drywall down and make sure it's not an issue. If it is an issue, we need to handle it and then reset the room back up. So kind of a super duper pain in the butt, but you know, it is what it is. We're going to make the best of it, and we're going to make some good changes to hopefully continue to move us forward. So this is the current state of the room. We have 2 racks going up. We actually extended these racks. So like before the rack ended like right here, and we were able to shift it down back here a little bit more. And then also extend it this way. And I'll show you how we did that. So we actually got rid of the conveyor. Well, and when I say got rid of the conveyor, like we didn't really get rid of the conveyor. Like the conveyor is still there. But as you can see, like there is no conveyor on here. There used to be a section that extended out this way. And I think I got a picture of that. And we oh yeah, here's like the foot on the floor, and then here's the other foot. So it was taking up a lot of room, and we really wanted to make this rack bigger. And so I just made the decision that like, hey, we don't really use this conveyor that much. And so it made sense to just kind of get rid of it. And now it's like the best slip and slide. So, you know, just look how how greasy that looks and how slick that looks. And so, you know, you could potentially just slide down there and get down the steps quicker. I wouldn't recommend it. Probably extremely dangerous. But it is like the world's best slip and slide now. And so that's what that looks like. And then here's the old conveyor. We actually put it into this back room over here. This is kind of like a storage area that we'll never use for anything productive. And it's just kind of like a random corner with shelves and stuff in it. So we actually took the conveyor, and this thing is freaking heavy. Like, me and Tyler moved it, and it took everything we had to move it, which I don't know how much it weighs. It probably weighs like, you know, 300 pounds, maybe a little bit more. But we did move that. So that's like probably close to like a 3 or 4 foot section. And so it's good to get rid of that. Now these boards, this is actually how we do our shelves, which I'm going to show you in a bit. We actually cut down 1/2-inch OSB. And then we, you know, wrap them, and then that's what we use for our shelf. So this is what a finished shelf looks like. And so Mike and Amanda, not my wife Amanda, our employee Amanda, they wrap these like so good. Like, look how tight it looks, like a Christmas present. And so they wrapped all these shelves in plastic. And the reason we do that is we want to prevent that wood from getting wet. And so if we wrap it in plastic, it won't get wet. And then we leave it open on the bottom. Somewhat. I don't have a picture of the bottom, but there's like maybe a 4-inch gap on the bottom that's open, just so that if water did get in there, it would be able to breathe still, and it wouldn't mold up on us. But this is something really cool that Tyler came up with, and I love the idea. So it's kind of hard to tell by the picture, so I'll kind of walk you through it. So these are the lights we're using, and they're stainless steel or some type of steel lighting, like the actual case for the light. And we were trying to mount them, and we usually use what is it? It's like chain, like real thin chain, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. If you have to work on them, like, you know, they fall sometimes, and it's just, you know, if they go bad, they're kind of hard to get out of there and put back up. So, you know, they had put some of these in on Monday when I wasn't here with the chain, and, you know, it was just hanging too low. It was kind of in the way. And so we actually have these magnetic strips right here. And so Tyler came up with the idea of, you know, putting one of these magnetic strips up here and then attaching the light to it. And so it actually worked really well, and it hugs the lights like as close as they can potentially be to the roof, or the roof. The roof is on fire. I don't know why I thought of that, but it hugs them as close as they could be to the top shelf or the shelf above them. And so that was like a phenomenal idea. So we get these magnets from Harbor Freight. They're 18-inch magnetic holder. So the one thing I don't know yet, as an electrician speaking, I don't know what the effect the magnet's going to have on the light. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. But I think it will be okay. And I will let you know in a couple months when all the lights go dead or they're still working. So we'll figure that out. And then this was a really cool idea too. This is actually, let me go back over here. This is actually a countertop. It's a 6-foot countertop. And Mark was able to build a frame inside of our shelving to put this countertop in here to make it flush, which actually worked out perfect. So no one's going to walk by and stab themselves on the corner of the countertop. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to put a sink in here. And so if I go back to the beginning, where is it? Right here. So this is a long aisle. Usually we don't have aisles that are this long. It's 5 8-foot sections and a 6-foot section. So it's 46 feet. And then the uprights add a little bit too. So it's probably 47 feet. So that's a long aisleway. And so if someone was at the end of that aisle and, had to sanitize a net or something, they have to walk to the complete opposite side of the basement to sanitize the net, because the sink is in the front corner it's underneath the steps when you walk down. So I'll show you a picture of that. But you pretty much have to walk to the farthest part of the building to sanitize your net. And so I think Mark came up with the idea to actually just put a sink in there. And then Marcus brought it all together and made it work. And it actually looks really good. So here's back here is where the sink is. So it's on the complete farthest corner. You have to walk around all this stuff. And so having a sink in the middle of the rack is like a dream. You literally walk 20 feet and you can sanitize your nets and all that. And then you can have a working station for bagging shrimp. So it's going to be a really, really nice thing. And so I'm excited to test it out. And then a cool thing too, these racks are 8 foot high to give you an idea. So 96 inches to the top of that. So this shelf's pretty high up there. Probably 7.5 feet up. And so we braced it just in case we wanted to put tanks on the top, which I don't know if we ever will, but Mark, our livestock team lead, is all for it, wants to do it. And so we'll see how it goes, but we're definitely putting tanks on the 3 rows, and that's 45 tanks per row. So 90 tanks. And then if we put them on the top, we'd be able to get another 30 in there. So I don't know if we'll do that, but it's still an option. And then I saw this stuff this morning and I thought it was really cool. So Mark, our livestock manager, has been, really messing with a lot of our livestock as far as breeding them and stuff like that. So one thing he's been doing is he actually started breeding these little plecos. So we've had plecos for forever and they bred, but we really didn't pursue it. We weren't really, we were just feeding them kelp wafers and just kind of letting them live out their lives. As soon as Mark started, he was like, hey, I'm going to put some pleco caves in there. I'm going to separate them by color. I'm going to feed them some frozen food and stuff like that and get them breeding. So he's got a ton of these little albino plecos, bristlenose plecos in there. And then he also has a tank of the regular bristlenose plecos. And you can actually see a little shrimp baby there too. So he's got all kinds of stuff going on. And it doesn't stop there. He actually has these guys too, which the picture, let me zoom in. This is one of our ponds. And we actually have our salvinia in this pond. And then we also do some Java moss, or this might be the Christmas moss. I'm really not sure what they keep in that pond. But it's mainly that plant pond. And so we don't keep any livestock in there. And so we have the N-class endlers. And so we had to limit them down to 1 tank in the fish room because we were kind of running out of space. So we had a second tank that we were going to move. And so he put them in this pond to kind of breed them out. And I couldn't get a picture of the babies on the camera, but these are, I think this is a male, this one's a female, and there are little babies all over the surface. So it was super exciting. He showed me the other day and I got all pumped up about it. So we're definitely breeding some stuff, which is really cool. And so it's been a lot of fun and pretty exciting what we've been doing. And like I said, we have another employee starting soon, which is going to be, just another great thing that we can get, your guys' orders out quicker, and we can make sure that they're, we have more time to take care of the livestock. So we're going to provide you with even healthier livestock. By the end of the year, we're going to start importing our own nano fish, which is just going to be, a huge thing for us. Now we have the staff for it. And so, yeah, it's going to be really cool. So I'm really excited about that. I just saw this. Will, so Sure Aquatics, shout out to Will, big supporter of ours. He said, no, not the conveyor. So he's bummed that the conveyor's gone. He also asked if we're selling these hoodies. So we don't right now, but now that we're getting back into the winter season, we'll probably start offering them again. We took them off the website there for a while, but Texas AMA. No, it's all about the Ohio State there. So a lot of good stuff going on, a lot of great updates. And let's see what Mad Medic said. Thank you, Rob. Would you ever consider doing a week-long internship? I could fly out and work for a week to just learn. I'm in Rhode Island, and there's really no shrimp specialty shops out here. So I would have to think about it. It's not out of the question, but I would just have to think of how that looks like. Because I would just have to think about it. But great question. Send me an email, shipping at flipaquatics.com. And I'd be happy to answer your questions and come up with a good game plan and help you out as much as I possibly can. Let's see what Lauren said. Just don't stick your hand in the water while standing in your toaster. Yeah, you definitely would not want to do that ever, ever, ever. And then Multi-Tank Addictions, Chris, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it so much. Hope you are doing well, and I hope we're going to see you at Aquashella Dallas coming up. And just to follow up on that, Aquashella Dallas is right around the corner. It's like 5 weeks away, which is crazy. 5 weeks away, coming so fast. And so if you guys haven't heard about it, we are doing the American Shrimp Contest again. And a lot of people don't know this, but when you purchase a ticket for the American Shrimp Contest, you actually get into Aquashella for free. And so if you're participating in the contest, you actually have to enter the shrimp. You can't just purchase a ticket and then or purchase an entry and then not send shrimp and then get into the convention for a cheaper price. But if you do enter some shrimp, you actually get into Aquashella free both days. And so it's a big savings if you're actually competing in the contest. And we do that because we want to encourage people to enter, and we also want people to have a reason to enter, and we want to reward them for participating in our show and helping our show be a success. So just something to put out there. I'll probably do a live stream on it next week, really get into the American Shrimp Contest and talk more about it and all the great things we have coming up. I know Grant Eater, Joe Shrimp Shack, Eric Lucas, all those people have been working really hard behind the scenes to make it, be a really great show. And so I'm excited to see what we're able to accomplish. And it's just really cool. And then Mad Medic said, so cool. God has blessed you, brother. And I appreciate that. God has definitely blessed me beyond measure. And, he continues to bless me every single day. We got our little baby girl coming soon. And that is the biggest gift of all. So I'm so excited about that. And it's so cool. So what do we got up next? The shrimp tip of the week. So this is what we kind of named the live stream after. So I wanted to start this conversation and see what you guys have to say about it too. But snails in shrimp tanks. So my opinion is I want to say snails. Snails are essential. But no, snails are essential to a shrimp tank for a multitude of reasons. One, I've seen this happen so many times. So please hear this. People have a cycle tank. They cycled it, whether they use bacteria or they put fish in there before. And then they take all the fish or the livestock out, or they put a filter in there that's already pre-cycled, and then they add shrimp. Well, here's the thing about shrimp. Shrimp produce little to no waste. So what happens is the beneficial bacteria in the tank doesn't really have any ammonia to convert, doesn't really have any nitrate to convert or nitrite. And then at the end of the day, the bacteria dies. And so as time goes on, the cycle dies, and then you're just left with a shrimp colony that has no cycle in the tank. And so the shrimp colony starts breeding, things are going great. And then all of a sudden, the shrimp colony is huge, it's exploding, things are going great. And then you know what happens? All of a sudden they start producing enough ammonia for it to pick up on it. And then there's no beneficial bacteria to convert the ammonia to nitrite and then to nitrate. And so at that point, you start having these mass die-offs. And people are always like, hey, I had this perfect colony going, things were breeding, everything's good. And all of a sudden, half my colony died. And it's because your beneficial bacteria wasn't there. Your tank really wasn't cycled. And so there's ways to get around that. You can be adding live bacteria, Turbo Start or Florinbacter 1 by Brightwell. You can be adding that to your tank, whenever you do a water change or just sporadically. Or you can do what I prefer to do, which is introduce snails to your tank. And so whether it's Malaysian trumpet snails, whether it's, I don't know, assassins. Now, you wouldn't want to do assassin snails. Assassin snails can't eat shrimp. I don't care what people tell you. Assassin snails can eat shrimp. If they get a hold of them, they will eat them, especially if they're hungry. So it's just, and I could get it. I could go on about that for days. But mystery snails are really good. Rabbit snails are really good. Ram's horn snails are good. Malaysian trumpet snails are good. There's tons of great snail options. Nereid snails are pretty good, but sometimes they can be sensitive. So maybe stay away from those if if you're using them to keep your tank cycled. But I don't know. They probably would be fine, but that's the one that I would go to last for this. Nereid snails are really good for a cycle tank that you're trying to keep down on algae, though. So mystery snails would probably be my favorite, simply because they produce so much waste. And so you're going to have no problem keeping that live bacteria going. And then at the end of the day, another really, really good thing for snails is the fact that they're going to eat leftover food. So a lot of people, especially beginners, overfeed shrimp. And so I can't stress this enough that overfeeding your shrimp is the worst thing that you could do for your tank. It's going to create so many issues. So we have shrimp that have been in the mail for a month and get returned to us, and every single one is alive. So you don't really have to feed that much. Feeding once a week, twice a week, whatever the shrimp can consume in 2 hours would probably be good. But they're going to eat a lot of natural food too. And so snails are going to actually eat up any leftover food. So you're not going to have that overfeeding problem. You will have to keep up on water changes and stuff like that, depending on how high your nitrates get. But if you have live plants in your tank, that's going to keep your nitrates down. And so live plants, snails, and fish or shrimp. Live plants, snails, and shrimp are like a perfect working ecosystem. The snails are going to keep the beneficial bacteria alive. They're going to eat any leftover food. Mystery snails don't breed in the tank. And if they do, they're going to lay clutches of eggs above the water. You can easily remove them. They're not going to overbreed. And so I can go on and on all day why snails are so important and mystery snails can be so good for you. And so just starting that conversation, I know we're at members only today, so there's not going to be as many questions. But whatever questions you guys do have, feel free to ask them. We can talk through it. We can talk about snails that, potentially you want to keep or overpopulation. Because I know a lot of people's complaints about snails is that they overpopulate. And the only time that snails will overpopulate is when you overfeed. If food is scarce and the shrimp are eating all the food, snails are going to have access to the food and they're not going to reproduce. They're not going to live. So it's easy to control the snail population based on the amount that you're feeding. And I've done that with ram's horn snails. I've done it with Malaysian trumpet snails. I haven't done it with pond snails just because I don't use pond snails, but I'm assuming it would work the same way. Pond snails tend to be a little bit hardier than the other ones and require a little bit less. But with pond snails, now I never encourage you to kill live animals, but pond snails, you can actually smush them in your fingers and feed them to your shrimp, and the shrimp will go crazy for them. So it's just a pretty good little food source if you do end up having them and there's too many of them. So there's definitely ways to work around it. But for me, especially with the tanks that I'm setting up out here, I'm going to be using a ton of snails just because that's what I believe in. Like I use snails in my personal shrimp tanks. It just makes a lot of sense. I don't use them in our warehouse tanks just because there's always so much going on in those. But we do use them in, personal tanks. And in our tanks here at the warehouse, we usually have, 100 shrimp, 200 shrimp minimum in a 20-gallon long. So we're not going to have any problem keeping that bacteria alive. So, yeah. So if you members have any questions, feel free to ask them and we'll get through. I did see Multi-Tank Addiction said, yes, I will be there Friday to Monday. So if you need help, let me know. I want to help. Well, that's awesome, man. That's great to hear. I'll actually reach out to you because I'm handling the fish tube booth. And so I'm reaching out to everyone beforehand, seeing who's coming, seeing how we can get them involved, things like that. So I'll be reaching out to you. And great to hear that you're coming to Aquashella. Will said, is Amanda going to Dallas? The answer is no. She's actually due November 30th. And so it's only like 4 weeks from her due date. So her doctor said, yeah, you probably shouldn't travel that soon. So she will not be there. And then I still don't know, like, if we're going to set up a booth, not going to set up a booth, because if Amanda for some reason does go into labor, like, I need to be able to leave like that. And, I can't, leave my team with just a ton of work to do and clean up all by themselves. And so we're still tossing around the idea of what we're going to do. I might partner up with like a local pet store and then, just bring a couple shrimp, let them have the rest of the booth, something like that. And so it would be really good. Rocco said, I'll see you there. I can't wait for Aquashella. Aquashella will be a great time. And please, if you guys have shrimp that you can enter into Aquashella, you should definitely do it. The American Shrimp Contest. People feel like they don't have good enough shrimp to enter, but that's not true. Like, we've had so many people that have just like entered, one category and they get third, second, sometimes first place. And it just kind of like gets them in there. And so some of our biggest breeders in the United States that normally compete and normally win are actually being judges for this show, are organizers for this show. And so it's really going to open the door for a lot of like newcomers to really get their foot in the door and start competing and kind of see what it's like to be a part of the American Shrimp Contest. Mad Medic said, someday I'll be there. We'll definitely get there because it is a great thing to watch. Will said, just watch all of Rob's YouTube videos. Basically an internship right there. I mean, that is true. There's a lot of stuff out there. But it is easier when you have specific questions, just to answer them. So I get both sides of it. But thank you guys so much for all the comments and just talking through stuff. And so I guess let's move on to a new product that I can share with you guys. Let me get it all set up. Okay, so this is something that we are introducing this week. It actually just went live today. I need to go through and redo all the pictures for these, but we're selling assorted rabbit snails. So I didn't even know that we had access to get these. So I tried them out. I want to say 4 weeks ago. We ordered in 25 or 50 of them. And I just want to see, like, what are they going to send? Like, are they going to send me all chocolates? Are they going to send me all blues? Are they going to be all golds? Like, what's it going to be? And they literally send me like a hodgepodge of stuff. So like, there's white spotted, there's yellow spotted, there's white antenna, there's blue, there's black, there's, or chocolate, not black. There's like all different types of these really cool assorted rabbit snails. And so we got them in and we're like, man, this is really good. And then we've been having them in quarantine because we just want to see how they would do. And they're still doing great. So we just listed these guys on the website. We sell one for $10 or $9.99. Then we sell three for $28.99. And so, there's rabbit snails are definitely the pricier of the snails, and that's what you saw in the thumbnail of this video. So rabbit snails are definitely pricey, but they are so cool. And the cool thing about them is they're like Malaysian trumpet snails. So Malaysian trumpet snails have live babies. And so rabbit snails actually just produce like one baby or two babies every couple days, and you just never know. They're just going to keep popping them out. And so they're a really fun snail to breed. They get really big. I want to say like as big as they get is maybe 3.5 inches, something like that. And so, yeah, they're really cool. They're my favorite snail. They are a little bit more sensitive than most snails just because, they come from Sulawesi, which is in Indonesia. And so like they just have really weird parameters out there. And so I bred them in Caridina parameters at 72 degrees water or 72 degrees Fahrenheit water. And so they will breed pretty regularly. I've never bred them in a Caridina setup, always in Caridina. And the way we keep them now is we have, 20-gallon long. We put cichlid sand in the bottom. We feed them green beans, like kelp wafers, things like that. And they do really good. They're breeding like crazy. We got babies all over the place because we've had them for a month. So we probably have 15, 20 babies or more in there. And so, yeah, it's just really cool. A lot of fun. And so assorted rabbit snails are up on the website. It may be hard to find because we just added them. But if you go to our website and you scroll down to new products, they're going to be the first new products. So that's the easiest way to find them. Because I don't know if my website updated yet. Assorted rabbit. Oh, they did. If we search assorted rabbit snails, it does come up. So you can find it that way too. But I did want to talk about snails as well. And so this is something that I'm focusing on this week. So if you come here, like these are all the snails that we offer. Let me refresh the page. We got a huge variety of mystery snails. And I'm actually going to add jade mystery snails this week too. So they're green and they're super pretty. So I love them and they've been doing phenomenally well for us. We've actually had them for like 2 months because I really wanted to see like if their color changed or anything like that based on parameter, and they're doing phenomenal. So I'm going to be adding those this week as well. But I'm going to go through here and redo all these pictures because they're just a little outdated. So like right here, we got chocolate rabbit snails, which we don't have any in stock now, but we will soon. We got blue rabbit snails and then gold rabbit snails. We actually have a bunch of these on the way and they should be arriving tomorrow. So depending on how they look, we might add them in this weekend or early next week. Assassin snails. These are a big seller for us. Again, I would never consider assassin snails shrimp safe, but most likely if you put them in your shrimp tank, they're not going to mess with the shrimp as long as they have snails that they can eat. And so just know that. And I wouldn't add a ton to your shrimp tank if you were adding them. But we sell a bunch of these and they eat pond snails, ram's horn snails, pretty much any small snail that they can get a hold of. Nearite snails are another huge seller for us. Everyone loves them. And again, we have a lot of these snails that are coming out of quarantine this week. So you'll see this towards the end of the week. But nearite snails are one of the best algae eaters. They constantly cruise around the tank, eating stuff, doing their thing. We have sorted rabbit snails, which we just talked about. That's our new product of the week. And then as far as mystery snails, again, none of these pictures are super great, but they give you an idea. And we're going to be updating the pictures this week, so you'll get a better idea. But black mystery snails, we got albino mystery snails, which pretty much have the same shell color as the black mystery snails. It's just they have an albino body instead of a black body. We got ivory mystery snails, which are one of my personal favorites. I just love the color of them. Blue mystery snails, another one of my absolute favorites. This picture does not do them justice. That's another reason why I really need to update these. But they're an absolute beautiful, beautiful snail. And again, mystery snails are my preferred snail when it comes to a shrimp tank, just because they don't reproduce crazy. You can control their population easy. They produce a ton of waste. They're super easy to keep. So we got purple mystery snails. We have albino body and black body. And just so you know, the albino body is like this yellowish color. So some people think it's going to be white, and it's not white. It's like a yellow. And then we have the black body, which is like this blue mystery snail. And then one of the biggest mystery snails that we sell, or not biggest, one of the best sellers of mystery snails that we sell are the gold mysteries. And then obviously trumpet snails are a huge seller for us because they're just a great snail for any tank. They get into the substrate, they stir the substrate, they eat leftover food, they cut down on detritus. And so they're just really, really good snails to have in your tank. And they're fairly cheap, so you can get 30 of them. They're going to reproduce. They're going to do their thing. And so that's all the different snails that we offer. And so just so you guys know, we do a sale every single week. And that discount code is down below. I think let's see if I can pull it up on here. It is newsletter 2021, no spaces. Again, it's down below in the detail section. And that discount code is good for 15% off all snails. So that's exclusive to you guys. We'll probably do a snail sale this weekend. So, excuse me, if you guys see snails that you like and you want to get them now, you want to get them early, definitely feel free to do that. This is a code that we're going to continue with every single week, and it's going to change depending on the week on what it is a percentage off for and how much the percentage is. But we are doing a sale on all snails this week for you guys, 15%. So you can use that code below. I also have a link to shop all the snails, and then also a link to shop the sorted rabbit snails. And we only have like 25 or 30 of the sorted rabbit snails left. So not a ton, but enough that you guys can try them out if you want to. And like I said, we have some really cool ones. And so if there's specific ones that you want, you can always leave a note in your order that, hey, I really want this one. If we have it, we'll do our best to include it and stuff like that. So that's the sale for the week, and a little bit more about snails, and just kind of, giving you guys the whole rundown of why snails are so essential for your shrimp tank. Mathematics said he's watched every single video, so he is basically an intern. IB Sam said, I found a couple of green shrimp in my Skittles tank, pulled them out to see if I can get green line going, but both are females. best to put both red and blue males in there until I have a green male. Man, I haven't done much mixing of Neocaridinas as far as breeding. So I wouldn't say I'm the best person to give you advice on this. But whatever, I would say probably a black male would be your best bet, like a black rose. Just because I know our green jades produce a lot of blacks. And so if you're already introducing a nice black rose male into the colony, like most likely that's how they're breeding them anyway. So that's what I would do. But great question. Mad Max says learned so much. Well, I appreciate that. Will said, I thought y'all were breeding rabbit snails. I thought you had like 3 tanks full of them. Yeah, we do. And we actually sold them all. And so we still have some, but we really cleared them out. And that's because we're breaking that rack down. And yeah, we have so much going on. It's crazy. It never ends. Science Scout Aquatics, Carrie, shout out to Carrie and Jesse. Again, amazing people. Check out their YouTube channel if you've never seen it before. Carrie's in here pretty much every single week hanging out. And she said, never can have too many snails. And I agree. Unless there's just one specific tank and there's thousands of them in it, then at that point, it might be a little bit too many. So yeah, so next thing I want to talk about is all the members and give you all a shout out because of all the support that you guys do for us. And so I'm happy to announce we're up to 108 members as of now. Now we got a new one today, so we're probably up to 109. It doesn't update on my end until like a couple of days later, but we'll say we're at 109, which is super exciting, and we're really getting there. And some of the new members this week, Rocco's Fish Room signed up today. So Rocco, thank you so much for you signing up. Emma Whitchurch Ivy signed up. So Emma, thank you so much for being a part of it and becoming a member of Flip Aquatics, a shrimp family member, we like to call them. And then Joseph Miller and Trevor Kelly are 2 that signed up last week during the live stream. So shout out to all you guys. Thank you so much for being a member and being a part of this channel. And then I want to give a shout out to some of the older members. And I'm sure some of these are going to be repeats, but I always got to send love where I can. So Hunter Williamson has been a member for 25 months. My mom, I know she was in here. She's been a member for 25 months. Caleb Shrimp and Scales, another member that's been there for 25 months. And Parker Benz, another person that has been a member for 25 months. So shout out to you guys. It's great to have your support. Another one is Joe's Shrimp Shack, been a member for 2 years, 24 months. So Joe's actually going live after this. So shout out to Joe and go support his channel after this stream. He's in the comments section. So I'm sure you'll see him there. Just go over Joe's Shrimp Shack. And then Anjanita has been a member for a year. And so shout out to them. Keith 746N has been a member for 23 months. Jim Miners has been a member for 22 months. And then Mama has been a member for 22 months. Sue Judith, Miss Gay, Panda Lee, my wife, has been a member for 22 months. And Alec McClannon. I haven't seen Alec in forever. Alex, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing good, buddy. I love his last name, McClannon. I watch a lot of like Scottish shows, so I love like the Scottish names. Like it's just awesome. So shout out to all those people, all those members that have supported me for so long. I really, really do appreciate you guys and all the support that you provide me and Flip Aquatics. I'm so thankful for it. And really, I do appreciate you guys so much. And I like being able to do things specific for you guys and do these live streams where you guys can, have your voice heard. You can watch, you can ask questions, and really be a part of what we're doing here. And yeah, Will, you're at, let's see. It must be 28 months. Let's see. Sure, Quise. Yep, 28 months, my man. So, yeah, it's just so cool. Thank you guys so much for all that you do and being a part of it. Members, you mean so much, and I really do appreciate everything you do. And I know you guys know that. And I'm really going to work on a video this week for members only and kind of give you guys a little behind the scenes. Maybe if I'm setting up some of these tanks, I always point the wrong way. If I'm setting up some of these tanks, I'll show you guys what's going on there and really, really give you some cool stuff. And so day one, baby, day one. I love it. That's Will in there. So sure, Aquatics. Will actually lives only like an hour away from me. So every once in a while I get to see him and his wife and get to hang out with them. And they're just really good people. And so, yeah, it's just really cool. So again, I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for tuning into the live stream. I know we're going to be ending a little early, but you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I still got tons of coffee I can drink and enjoy. And yeah, it's just really cool. So I'm going to be working on a members only video for you all, and it'll be something cool. I'll do something cool. So we'll get that out, and then I'll try to, maybe I'll rotate. I'll do 1 week a regular video, and then the next week a members only video, until I can get in a good enough routine that I do a members video and a regular video every single week. So we'll see how it goes. But you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the live stream. Don't forget to go check out Joe's Shrimp Shack. His live stream starting here in about 6 minutes. And so go check him out. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. So much love to you all. Send me that email, MadMedic, and we'll get your questions answered and talk about some detailed stuff. But much love from me to you guys. As always, God bless, and we will catch you on the flip side. I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your week.